What's up, Juventini? Alberto here. Got all your Juventus news, all right. Of course, with the mercato quickly coming upon us in just a matter of days, the rumor mill intensifies, and we're going to take a look at it all right now as Juve could be passing up on a target many of us want to see. We may be preparing for a return, and then we've got a question mark around Vlahovic going into the big match against Roma. So like the video, subscribe to the channel. This is the AJC. Let's rock. We're going to kick things off with, of course, mercato talk, all right. Tottenham open up to loaning with an obligation Hojbjerg to Juventus. And this comes from Mirko Di Natale stating that there's been discussions with intermediaries since October, all right, September and October for the player coming to Juventus. He said the sum will be less than 30 million euros. Now you have Giovanni Albanese saying that the track for Hojbjerg to Juventus is not a hot one, all right? He says Koopmeiners is still the preferred profile for Juventus. Now, I got to say right off the bat, I wish it was reversed. I wish that it was Mirko Di Natale saying that it's not a hot track and Albanese saying that it could potentially go down, all right? As far as Koopmeiners goes, we know it's going to be a lot of money to bring him from Atalanta. Not so sure it makes any sense. And even Albanese states Juve would have to indeed sell to even be able to bring him in. In terms of Phillips, he still lingers around the rumor mill with Juventus. But what's come up now is that City's going to have to come up with a portion of his salary in order to facilitate this loan. And then, of course, they will be looking for obligation, but there might be a chance for an option there. I would expect Juventus out of these options to take something that they don't have to commit to, all right? But it's being reported the player wants to be a starter at Juventus. And this is one of the problems I have with some of these targets. I don't think he's an out-and-out clear starter. That's just me, all right? Even Hojbjerg, and this is what frustrates me, all right? You have targets out there that have the abilities that we lost when you look at Pogba and Fagioli, albeit not to the level of a Pogba, but they have those abilities, and it's what we're lacking desperately. So even if you're bringing these guys in that are looking to be clear starters, obviously looking out for their benefits and their well-being, which makes sense. It is a business as well. It just doesn't make sense, all right? Then you've got a player like Bernardeschi. He still lingered around with Juventus in the rumor mill because he could be just that loan for the second half of the season, fill in as a utility if all else fails. But Samardzic, he's being tipped off as still lingering in the background, but that might have taken a huge kick in the junk today with Fabrizio Romano stating that Napoli is currently pressing for Lazar Samardzic. This would be incredibly frustrating for me. And I'll tell you exactly why. Obviously, he is one of the targets we all feel would be able to have that impact on the team moving forward. Bigger impact than a Hojbjerg, bigger impact than a Phillips, because we lack the abilities that he carries, and he'd be able to bring those abilities out of a Mezzala role to a higher degree, in my opinion, than Miretti or even Caviglia. And Caviglia has been used in change-up to Locatelli. Locatelli as a Mezzala, I would still choose Samardzic over him in that role. Now, what's frustrating with other teams now being linked to try and bring him in. And this could be coverage for Napoli as they could be set to lose Zielinski moving forward in the summer. If he can't find a renewal with Napoli, this could be their coverage. The fact that other teams now are going in on Samardzic and being confirmed by a guy like Fabrizio Romano tells me that Udinese looks like they would be willing to move him with the right offer. This should be where Juve is focusing their attention and pressing, because it's still going to be a better deal, in my opinion, than Koopmeiners, Hojbjerg, and even Phillips. This is where they should be focusing. So I'm going to be very, very frustrated if something does go down and he ends up going to another team in the winter mercato. This would frustrate me, all right? But again, you guys know the drill. Let me know in the comments section if you would share that same frustration, or maybe you prefer one of these other targets. Hit me in the comments. Now, we got to get to the health status heading into this match against Roma. Chiesa and Locatelli trained partially with the group today. If Chiesa is not fit to start, Yildiz is expected to get the start. With Cambiaso suspended, Weah is tipped off to start at right wing back. Now, Vlahovic took a knock yesterday in training. However, he is okay. But the question mark surrounding him amongst Juventini is, Should we give him the start off the bench like we did in the last match against Frosinone? Many were happy with how he came off the bench, his approach, his play, and he looked very, very strong. Would you start him from the bench against Roma? I'm going to be quite honest. I'm 50-50 on this one. I'm fine either way, but the approach, the mentality, the play has to match what it did against Frosinone at all times. And again, when you're on that salary, when you're supposed to be the guy, you should be able to bring that no matter what, whether you're starting from the first minute or coming off the bench. So for me, ultimately, I might just lean towards the fact that Milik does help a lot in terms of overall play, but we really have to get Vlahovic going. I'd probably start him from the outset. That's just me, and I'm kind of curious to see Yildiz and Vlahovic playing as well. I'd ultimately like to see Chiesa and Vlahovic with Yildiz as an advanced midfielder, but hey, that's what I think. You guys know the drill. Hit me in the comments. Until tomorrow's edition, as always, fino alla fine, forza Juve, ciao tutti.